WWE Hell in a Cell took place tonight, and you had 3 Hell in a Cell matches on the show, and that was clearly the best part of the show. And overall, I'd have to say this is probably the best WWE pay-per-view I've seen this year. I'm honest, I can't think of a better one. The Royal Rumble was pretty good, maybe that one. WrestleMania, maybe. This is actually better than WrestleMania. This was better than SummerSlam, better than Money in the Bank. He had 3 Hell in a Cell matches I thought all delivered. I enjoyed all 3 of them. I thought they were all different from one another, and I thought they were all very, very good. So that's how the show delivered to me. I thought it was overkill to have 3 Hell in a Cell matches, and I still feel that the I Quit match shouldn't have been in Hell in a Cell. I thought you could have just done that without the cage, but they decided to do it. So anyway, you had the show start off on the pre-show. You had Kayla Braxton doing the backstage interviews throughout the show. You had R-Truth and Drew Gulak. I don't give a shit about this match, so we can just go to the main card. You had a cool opening, kind of a scary opening. You had the opener was the Universal title match, a Hell in a Cell I Quit match. Roman Reigns defended his title against Jey Uso. This was exactly like the last match they had at Clash of Champions. It was pretty much the exact same match. It was Roman Reigns murdering Jey Uso, which I fully expected him to. He beat him down as much as I expected it. It was vicious. It was violent. It was a beating. It was a half hour long. It was just a beating, just a beat down. So, they want they basically want Roman Reigns is trying to get Jey Uso to quit, and Jey won't quit. Roman hits him with a Superman punch, and actually before the match, Jey was a little bit competitive. He got some offense, but then Roman took over. Roman hit the spear, and it was just like the match at the last pay-per-view. After he hits the spear, it's just a long beating. It's just a beatdown for almost a half hour. Jey won't quit. The ref keeps asking Jey to quit. He won't. He refuses to. Roman gets mad at the referee. The ref keeps begging Jey to quit. He won't. He just takes beatings. He gets whipped with his own belt. He gets hit with a spear, and Roman hits him with the drive-by. He hits him with the steps, and Jey still won't quit. Threatens to crush Jey's head with the steel steps. Jimmy Uso makes the save, and there's a whole bunch of referees there. Roman beat up the one referee, but Jimmy makes the save, and Roman starts to cry, and they have a moment in the ring together where Jimmy's trying to help Roman, but Roman then sees Jimmy, he puts him in the guillotine. He's choking out Jimmy Uso. Jimmy goes out. Jey sees this. Jey's shocked, and Jey is finally forced to quit. He has to watch his brother choked out. Roman Reigns defeats Jey Uso. I thought this was a great story. It told a great match. And I think it needed to be in Hell in a Cell. I still feel it. I think they just could have done an I Quit match. But I thought it was a great heat angle for Roman. Roman's in tears. I thought this was really well done. After the match, Roman goes up to the stage. There's the Wild Samoans. They're out in the COVID pandemic right now, but they're there, and they put Roman. He basically just becomes the head of the chief. He saw off on Sika, and Sika's Roman's dad. He puts the I don't know what you call it over his head. The tribal Samoan, I'm not sure what it's called. And Roman, I guess he's officially the head of the table. He's the tribal chief, and he's still the Universal Champion. I thought this was really well done. He went to Elias and Jeff Hardy. This was a SmackDown match or a Raw match. A Raw match, I guess, didn't need to be on the show. It was quick. It was a DQ. It was just a mess. He had Miz with John Morrison taking on Otis, and of course Otis is accompanied by Tucker. This was for the Money in the Bank contract. This was okay. It wasn't much of a match. I figured, okay, Miz is for sure winning this match because Otis has just been a fucking failure as the Money in the Bank briefcase holder. He should have never had it in the first place. But what happens is Miz has Otis down, and Otis just gets hit with the briefcase hard by Tucker. Tucker turns on Otis. They're split up. Tucker destroys Otis with the briefcase. Miz pins Otis, 1, 2, 3. Miz wins the Money in the Bank contract, so he's Mr. Money in the Bank yet again. 10 years ago, he won the briefcase, and of course, he won the title, and he went on to headline WrestleMania after he cashed in the briefcase on Randy Orton, who was the WWE champion, and they just happened to be on the same brand. Could we see a repeat of 10 years ago? I thought that, but Miz wins. This was more set up with the Tucker Otis heel turn. After the match, you see Kayla interviewing Miz and Morrison. Then Tucker comes, and he's angry, says he was always overshadowed by Otis. Otis him fight, and it's just, that's it. That's the end of them. I think their careers are both going down the shitter. I don't expect them to be at this company much longer. Then we go to the SmackDown Women's Championship, Hell in a Cell. Sasha Banks comes out wearing all white. The way her demeanor was, I can kind of tell with Sasha Banks, the way she acts, like her demeanor when she comes out, her face. Yeah, she's going to win or lose. I can tell she's winning for sure. And it makes sense. Bayley comes out, SmackDown Women's Champ, and the match they had, it was a really good Hell in a Cell match. Not bad. I thought the match that Sasha Banks had with Becky Lynch last year was a lot better, I would have to say. But I still thought this was a hell of a matchup. It's more of a, told the story of Bayley punishing Sasha for a bit. Sasha was at first kicking Bayley's ass. Bayley would keep bringing weapons, and Sasha would run out. Bayley brought a chair. Sasha threw it out of the door. She threw out 2 kendo sticks. She keeps getting rid of Bayley's weapons, forcing Bayley to fight her. Sasha has all the offense here. She's taking it to Bayley. Then Bayley gets the equalizer. She hits her with the kendo stick. She beats down Sasha with the kendo stick. And there was a really cool scene where the kendo sticks tied up, or sorry, it's set up with on the apron in the cage, and Sasha goes neck first and it breaks, which they sold it well. Bayley beats up Sasha for a while there. She makes this, I don't know what she's doing with the kendo sticks and tape, and that was a really bad botch, but Bayley's beating down Sasha Banks. Then Sasha uses a fire extinguisher. There's also a cool spot with a table. Earlier, before that, Sasha hits a meteor when she runs up a table, hits Bayley with the meteor on outside onto the outside of the ring off the table, and hits Bayley into the cage. That was a cool spot. But after Sasha uses a fire extinguisher, she has second life, but Bayley takes advantage again. Bayley again regains the upper hand. She beats down Sasha Banks. She brings over the ladder and she sets up 2 chairs. She puts Sasha Banks on top of the ladder. But before that, Sasha hits a Bayley to belly. But Bayley fights off Sasha. Sasha is she gets hit with the Bayley to belly, but Sasha kicks out. Bayley hits her with her other finisher, I believe, on the outside. Before that, actually, then Bayley hits her with the Bayley belly. Sasha gets out of it. She kicks out of the elbow. Bayley goes to put Sasha away. She puts her on top of the ladder. She's able to drop the chair, and she puts spray paint on her chest, actually. She's going to drop the elbow onto Sasha when she's up on the ladder with 2 chairs. It's crazy to explain, but Sasha moves out. Sasha then takes it to Bayley. Sasha is able to put Bayley's head in the chair, like how Bayley Pillmanized Sasha's head a few weeks ago, or a couple months ago. She's able to put Bayley in a Pillman position. Bayley's there, and then that's when Sasha Banks puts in the bank statement. Bayley tries to fight off. She keeps trying to fight off, but then Sasha begins kicking into the chair, which made it look really fucking painful. She kicks the chair while she has her in the bank statement. Bayley's forced to tap out. It's over. Bayley taps out. Sasha Banks defeats Bayley inside Hell in a Cell. Sasha Banks is your SmackDown Women's Champion. She looks great holding the belt, by the way. She's in tears. She's emotional. She puts her, after she wins the belt, the cell goes up. Sasha is just thrilled. She grabs the belt. She pulls it within. She puts her foot over Bayley. She's gotten rid of her. She's being her best friend. After what Bayley did to her, she Pillmanized her neck. She was supposed to take out Sasha. Sasha is able to get her revenge on Bayley. She is the SmackDown Women's Champion, and the way they set this up, they see Sasha leaving the show with the champ. She's raising the belt up, but they show Bayley looking back. It makes you think this feud's continuing since Bayley's still in SmackDown. I thought Bayley should have been drafted to Raw, personally. I would have put her on Raw and ended this, but that's it. That was a great moment. I really liked it. I'm happy to see Sasha get a big moment. She really deserved it. I just wish this was at WrestleMania. I wanted to see Sasha Banks and Bayley at WrestleMania 37 in LA. I wanted to see Sasha, the full storyline where Sasha is finally back from her neck injury. She wins the Royal Rumble. She challenges Bayley at WrestleMania. She beats Bayley. She gets this amazing moment at WrestleMania with the fireworks going off. She gets her big Mania moment, which she's never had. She's 0-4 at Mania. I wanted to see that. I really would have preferred to see it. Instead, Sasha beats Bayley in Hell in a Cell, and I think the feud's going to continue because the way they're help building it up, it makes you think for sure we're going to get another match. I hope I'm wrong. Hell in a Cell should be the end, but if they want to end it like this, it's not a bad way to go. They've been building it for 3.5 years. This is it. It was a very good match to go out on. Sasha Banks finally beats Bayley in a big match. She of the 3 Hell in a Cell matches, the match at Charlotte, this was better than the Charlotte match. That match was a disaster. And the Becky match was better than this. This was probably second. But she finally wins a major match, it felt like. She finally got a huge win on pay-per-view, winning the title on pay-per-view, which she never really did before. And it was a Hell in a Cell match. So Sasha beats Bayley. They set up Bobby Lashley and Slapjack for U.S. titles. Who gives a shit about that? Realized Lashley wins quickly. So main event time, Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship inside Hell in a Cell. Of course, Drew's beating Randy twice on pay-per-view. He beat him at SummerSlam and Clash of Champions. So Randy needs a big win, and he got it. So how this starts off is Drew comes out, and Randy is basically dressed up as a cameraman. He's basically dressed up like Retribution with the mask, but he attacks Drew. He beats him up. They're fighting on the outside. I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be like the Undertaker-Mankind match when they start on top of the cell. That's not what we got at all. They fight for a while outside, and then eventually they make their way back into the cage. I can just imagine if this was in front of a real audience, they would boo the shit out of like, come on, go to the top. We want to see a Hell in a Cell match. Well, we got that. This match was actually excellent. I thought this was the best match of the night. So they fight in, and it starts off slow. I'm thinking to myself, man, they're just getting another Hell in a Cell match. I've seen this like 3 times now. Just another cage match. I wanted to see a crazy Hell in a Cell match. And it turns into that. So they're fighting there. There's chairs used. There's steps used. Randy, I think, gets thrown into steps that were set up. They teased the steps breaking into the cell. They didn't do it. I'm not a huge fan of the red cage. I hate it. I like the silver cage. I think that's so much better. Or the gray cage, whatever color it technically is. I'm not a fan of. I don't like the red cage. I think it's very gimmicky. But they beat each other up. They use the cage more in this on the outside. We see a table spot. Someone gets thrown through a table. We see chairs, and we see a whole bunch of weapons in this match. They're beating each other up. Randy is not able to put Drew away, and Randy gets frustrated, so he goes to the outside. He takes these huge pliers. He breaks open the cage. He goes to the outside. He challenges Drew. Drew follows him. They fight on the outside. Randy teases going up the cage multiple times. Eventually he does. Randy goes to the top of the Hell in a Cell. I was himself, yes, we got to see a match on top of the cell. Randy's on top of the cell, which was cool. Drew follows him, and they fight on top of the cell. Not much happens on top. Randy, I think Drew takes him down, beats him up, hits him with punches. We didn't get really a slam. We didn't see someone go through the cage. We haven't seen that in years. I think that's only happened a couple of times where someone's been thrown through the cage. We've seen someone jump off. We've seen Shane jump off recently a couple of times. We've seen him jump off the top of the cell. We've never seen actually anyone thrown through it. Those old Hell in a Cell matches are like some of my favorites. Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Mankind. All those old, those Attitude Era Hell in a Cell matches where crazy stuff would happen. But it's been a while since we've seen anything like that. We did get some spots. So we saw him wrestle on top. I think there was a couple of moves hit on top of the cell, which was cool, but it didn't break. And I thought they went down too quickly. They fight on top of the sides. They're right on the sides, and they're fighting there. Randy and Drew are hitting each other. Randy's able to hit Drew's head off the top of off the cell into the cage. After Drew hits the cage, he falls through the announcer's table, and that's our big announce table booth. I thought it looked brutal. I thought it looked painful. Drew's a huge guy, so him falling is just, oh man, that looked bad. He's bleeding from his mouth. Drew's busted open. He's able to somehow make it back inside the cell. Randy follows him. He's just stalking him. Looks like Drew's done, but Drew hits the Claymore kick. Drew is able to get back. He's still selling his ribs though. He hits a Claymore kick. Is he going to beat Randy Orton? Randy's out. Randy's out. Drew is finally able to recover. Drew's recovering. And then as Drew recovers, Drew is able to sets him up for the Claymore. He misses the Claymore. He falls down. Randy then hits an RKO. After Randy hits the RKO, he pins Drew McIntyre. 1, 2, 3. Randy Orton is your new WWE champion. He defeats Drew McIntyre. Finally gets a huge win over Drew. Well deserved. I think Randy Orton's been excellent. I think this has been probably one of the best years of his career. The stuff with Edge and the stuff with all the legends, and the stuff with Drew's been good. And this match was great. It was the best match of the night. A hell of a Hell in a Cell match. They owed us after what they did to us the last couple of years. 2 years ago with Reigns and Strowman ending in no contest, and then last year with the Seth Rollins and the Fiend. I don't want to even talk about that. The way it ended, no contest. They owed us a Hell in a Cell, and they gave us 3 very good Hell in a Cell matches, in particular a great main event. This was a decisive finish. I thought Miz was coming out, to be honest. Like, oh shit, the fucking Miz is coming out and he's going to win. But no, Randy won. He beats Drew. He holds the belt up, and they make Drew, he looked back at Randy the same way Bayley looked back at Sasha. And is this going to continue? But I think this is the end. Bayley, Sasha, I think that will continue. Reigns and Usos over too, but I think Randy and Drew is the end. We'll see what's next for Drew. We don't know, but all we know is Randy Orton is now a 14-time WWE champion.